Hey everybody, Chris Bullen here from Outdoor Adventure Australia. Just touching base. A few of you have asked, actually a lot of you have asked what I did to my foot. Thank you for the concern to start off with. But basically, where I'm coming from you now is soon to be the Outdoor Adventure Australia offices at the home base. We've been doing a lot of building and we're still doing a lot of building. We've got a lot of building to go. And I was doing a bit of work on the weekend on the property, so this is what was happening. I'll give you a quick shot. Okay, so you can see it was quite labour intensive. What happened was the log flipped over, bounced up, I stood forward and the log came back and landed on my foot. Luckily, very luckily, I was wearing steel caps, so it came back, landed on the steel cap, rolled over the top of the steel cap and hit the top of my foot. If I wasn't wearing a steel cap, it would have broken my foot for sure. And at the time, we were concerned that it still broke my foot. There's a couple of photos that I'll just throw up now that will show you what it looked like when it happened. And obviously straight away we did the rest, ice, compression and elevation. And then after that, we sort of just let it do its thing. I was very lucky enough, now that was 2 days ago, and yesterday the bruising came out, and I'll just throw a photo of that up. Now, it's now 2 days later, so it happened on Saturday, it's now Monday afternoon. I threw some frankincense, some essential oils, Doterra essential oils, frankincense, which I was lucky enough to get my hands on, and rubbed that into my foot yesterday. Also, you know, the massaging of the foot would have helped all of the inflammation and the swelling sort of go down. But I just want to show you something as well. This is my foot at the moment. Alright, so that's my foot now. Okay, so you can see all the bruising. It's kind of gone down a lot now. You can see the wrinkles in my skin, which weren't there yesterday. It was all puffy. I'm very lucky that I can actually stand up on it. There's no I can jump. So very lucky. Very, very lucky. So yeah, I'm not saying that the essential oils are a miracle cure that mended my broken bones and helped me get back on track, but the rate of recovery for pretty much 48 hours is pretty phenomenal, and I'm very pleased. The combination of rest, ice, compression and elevation, a bit of essential oils, a bit of frankincense, and I should be right to go on my overnight trek in a couple of days. Looking forward to it.